Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Mansfield Buzz.
Welcome to Mansfield Buzz with Jordan and Hurdie. Local business stories, let's dive in early. Jordan asks the questions, brings stories to light. Hurdie runs a tech, keeps production tight. Build trust in a town, discover and explore hidden gems and stores you never heard before. Community connection, that's what we're about. Tune in, join us, see what Mansfield's all about.
Yeah, everybody. Welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. It is Thursday, 2 p.m., and we are on every Thursday on the Mansfield Buzz. Jordan, we started in March of 2024. This is almost show 70-something by now. We've covered lots of local business. Just to let you guys know, we are the Mansfield Buzz. Your hosts are Jordan. Everybody wants to say Hough. It's Hough. Jordan, Hough. Make sure y'all get that right. And then there's that Hurdie Burk guy over there, too. It's a host. And so Jordan and I have been running this show together since March of last year. Jordan, a great host, greatest questions. He'll be talking a lot to Lena today. We'll be with her in a minute. We do have Lena Killion on. She's going to be with MLK prearrangements. We're going to talk about what happens when you pass away or making arrangements before you pass away. So we got some questions for her. We'll be with you in a minute. If you right now will go, if you're on watching us, and we do have people come in chat, they'll like it. There's a thumbs up button right on this video on YouTube. Go click it. It helps the algorithm, tells people we're important, and we are, regardless whether you touch it or not, we're important. But go hit the thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the channel. Our goal was to be at 200 subscribers by the end of July. We're at 185. We have 15 to go, so we need 15 more folks just to join and subscribe and join up on it, and we'd love to have you. And if you want to be on the show, you can send an email to Hurdie at hurdieburk.com. Just put in the subject line, we want to be on the Fantastic Phantasmo show, Mansfield Buzz, and I really want to come on. The problem is you're not going to get on till now. Are you ready, Jordan?
Ooh, what is it?
The third week of September is officially open.
Wow.
And October now has 2 dates booked. So we're actually now looking at into November.
Wow.
Right. And we want to announce it, and Lena's been a part of this team, but when we come up in October, we will have the special Halloween show this year like we did last year, and Lena was one of the 6 people on it. She'll be back to join us on that, which is really kind of cool. All right, so we're averaging still around 2,000 views per 30 days, and we're up around 39, 45 watch time hours a month. We really appreciate you guys. And Jordan doesn't know this, but next week, when we get the 5 questions in the show, we're going to introduce a new segment called Mansfield Buzz Flashback. And we're going to pull a short from one of our past customers and play it in the middle of the show, then get back to asking our guests their final 5 questions. So get ready for that next week. In the meantime, let's get ready to get with Lena, and let's start our icebreaker section, and we'll be right back. Yeah. So, Jordan, this is where you get to chime in, man. And I'll bring it up for you to get you started. But she has something she did, and I limited her till 2 minutes of craziness.
Okay.
It's like you've been in this show before, Lena. How does he know?
Okay. So can I start now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody knows, if we've been in contact or friendships, that I've never been on a cruise before. I believe in just flying to where I need to go to, or driving, or now taking the train. But my mom needed me. And so I decided to go on a cruise with her to Cozumel. So we planned it in 21 days. And I have a planner that I like and I'm using. But she was able to get me my balcony room and everything for 21 days out. So we didn't have a chance to payment plan, none of that stuff. We just paid it straight out of the pocket. Had the best time. And it was more about mother-daughter, meeting again and actually going on trips and seeing I'm an adult now. and mom's an adult too. So how do we work together? It was a great idea. It was a great trip, and we are definitely looking forward to doing more of those. I had a blast. I'd never been on a cruise before, so it was a lot of fun.
So what was one of the funnest things you enjoyed about the cruise?
I think the best thing was that you're able to party and spend time with people and eat and everything on your destination. So you don't really feel the boat moving or rocking. There's nothing crazy. It's just everything to do. If you didn't want to sleep, you could go downstairs, have ice cream, whatever. And so it was great. I met so many people and brought a lot of them home with me, and hopefully some are on the bus today. So it was fun. It was good. I needed that. God, I needed
So cool.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
What would you like? Since it was your first time, what was the thing that surprised you the most?
I think because it was off-peak season.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't so busy. The elevators were hell at times, but that was the only thing. Like I could move through and get beverages and get what I needed and have conversation easier than I could on peak season, I think. But for me, I think I would do a cruise again with my mom, with my family. I think that'd be a blast. You got to meet so many folks. And I used to be, like I told you guys last time, a social butterfly, and that's coming back. You cannot allow people to take you away from you. And I was able to exhibit that, and my mom did a great job meeting people and bringing them home as well. She's just a good person. So it was great. I want to do it again.
So Jordan, could you imagine being on a cruise with Lena like 4 days, partying with Lena for 4 days?
Oh my God. I don't know if I could keep up.
It was so fun. It was so fun. I didn't even know I could keep up either. I think I danced 3 nights out there. And then I was like, why am I in pain?
Like I said.
It's awesome.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. I want to do it again.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you get to travel, but also like the party travels with you. So you get the places, and when you're going to the next one, you still have so many things to do.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great time. And the one place I'd never been when it comes to Mexico, I'm going to Tulum in September. But I had never been to Cozumel. And so it was perfect. We got to go there, see the life. And the guy was like, don't buy here from, when you get off the boat, buy in town. And so I was able to cater to those people. And it was so fun.
Cool.
I came back with too much stuff. So it was good. Definitely want to do it again.
Awesome. Great icebreaker. Cool.
Thank you.
All right. So,
now,
George,
you know what? This is when we should do the flashback session to our cruise episode.
Oh, yeah. We got to do some of that. Yeah, it was fun, y'all. I'll just say I've never been, and I'm going to go again for sure.
So Roderick says hi.
Yeah, Roderick.
Hi, Roderick. What's up, homie? Awesome.
Well, let's get to our questions. But Lena, welcome back to the show. It's nice to have you. It's probably been a little bit over a year, right?
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Yeah.
So
I remember.
Dive deep and see what's changed, what's evolved.
Yeah.
It's cool when you get to go through those markers.
Yes, I'm excited.
So we got some really good questions here lined up. But I guess to just get us warmed up in here, I saw that you put your mission here. Send us your question, but I'd love it to hear it from you. How has your mission for your business evolved, and just kind of where you're standing right now? Because I know as you've gone, you've picked up more and more direction. So I'd love to get it.
It's funny how that happened, staying out of business and growing with it and learning what we don't recognize is that the people that we are around definitely affects our business. It affects our lives in so many ways. So what I'm working on is trying to get rid of all of the negative and trying my best to be, I'm a very real person, so I'm a realist, and that sometimes may lean more towards pessimism. So I'm trying my best with a coach that's helping me, and I love her. I think she's amazing, to be in a positive place as much as I possibly can, even though life is kicking my butt. But I'd say my mission statement is still to help individuals and families secure the best arrangements and services that they can in their budget. That is the most important thing. And that also comes from working in a funeral industry to start. Working there, and there was we're not going to give them a discount. Death has already occurred. So that was not something that they even would consider. There's no payment plan, before that. So now I am on the pre-need side of things, showing families how to get through this. I especially cater to our veterans because they have so many benefits that they don't know anything about. So I'd like to say that I feel MLK has evolved in the best ways. I'm learning things from people I never thought I'd take advice from or, direction from, but it just feels good. And I think that is still the same mission statement. It's just to help the
Mhm.
families get what they are looking for and doing it affordably to where they don't lapse on payments and things like that. Same thing.
And for the people watching that don't know, I mean, some people might not know what is prearrangements, and what exactly do you do?
So, what I will say, I want people to understand that there is a difference between at need and pre need funeral arrangements. Pre need is what I work for because I would rather work with you before death has occurred. At need services for it's not a pre need situation at all. It's called at need, and at need means death has already occurred. So you are at the behest of the funeral home, wherever they've gotten your body to. If you want to remove your family member, you have to pay a fee for all of those things. So I like to work on this end where I can say, you have a funeral home. Here's the phone number to your funeral home, and things just get prepared and planned for you because you've already narrowed all of that out. There's no back and forth between funeral homes with the person that's passed. It's all planned out exactly with a bow on it, the way that you want it. So that is a blessing, and that's why I do, the difference between pre-need and at need. Pre-need is so much better for our families than at need because you also have to pay whatever they come up with. You have to pay for that before services are rendered. So your family member is on refrigeration, being charged every single day for that. So
Mhm.
I like my area of working in the pre-need sesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
guess, and now that you're covering the pre-need and need differences, I hadn't really thought about it, but I mean, it's also the difference between who's actually doing the planning, who's actually paying. Like, if you're working on the pre-need end of things,
Right.
you get to actually decide what's going to happen, to
Exactly.
you.
For your mom or dad. Yeah.
At
Yeah.
need basically means your family's figuring this out, like on a
As
rush.
they go. Yes. Yes. And lots of families, dependent upon religion, even have to have you in the ground in 48 hours. Those different type. Every religion has something different. Um,
Hmm.
and and to tell you the truth, everybody wants to, if they're going to bury as soon as they possibly can, out of respect for the individual, out of respect for the family and them wanting to grieve. So I would rather deal with families before we can actually talk about any and everything. Like my service, what I want when I pass, I want a celebration of life. I want a horse drawn carriage and all the goodness that comes with that because the family members and friends that know me know I have a big personality and that's what I want. But at the end of that, I want to be cremated and I want my children to take my ashes to Cabo if possible and to the ranch because I know that's where they're going to spend their time. So that is what a pre-need does. It gives you the options to say, I want this, that, and the other. And that's already done. So your sons and daughters, moms and dads, those family members know what's going on and they know what position to play in. Do you see? At the time death has already occurred, people are in such a frenzy because they don't know where the money's coming from most of the time. It
Hmm.
can be very expensive. And then we've got people that are in my position, which I feel it's sales, but it's a
Hmm.
different level of sales. Like I cannot come to you and say, hey, let's get this headstone or marker in the shape of your parent for 15 grand, knowing that that's going to take out of the wallet of the family member,
Hmm.
because
Gotcha.
I'm sure that is what life insurance has been left for most times, is
Yeah.
to get your generational wealth is built from life insurance. So that's what I want for my children. I don't want them having to foot the bill for my service when I know what I want. I don't want them to have to worry about that. And so that is why I push pre-needs the way that I do. Not being pushy at pre-needs, but saying that this is so much more important because you get to say this, that, and the
Mhm.
other. You have your medical power of attorney, hopefully, living will, all of those documents that husbands and wives both need. When you get in the hospital, say for instance, someone has a car accident and you can't speak for yourself, who will speak for you? Who will be your champion? So we get all of that stuff done, taken care of, signed, notarized, and put a red bow on it and say, you are done. And then your family knows exactly where to pick up those, directions and move forward. Yeah.
So Lena, so during that pre-need conversation you have where you're working with folks, do you have a physical checklist you go through with them?
I do in my head.
Okay.
Before we get ahead of that, I wanted to touch upon a little bit because you're describing a lot of the experiences that you've seen people have, and I think that starts to touch a little bit on your why. Because I've talked to you before, and I actually I remember meeting you for the first time. It was a BNI meeting, and it was shortly before, shortly after you had started all of this.
Yeah.
And you and I just kind of talked about what took you in another direction, and you told me some really, really awesome backstory to just like the experience that this can do from a positive side and the negative side, which I think goes directly to your why. So I would love for the audience to know your why on this business, because I think is really powerful.
Right. So I really started this business because I saw no options for the families I was dealing with. And my grandma passed, which I think is the catalyst for MLK to begin with. Grandma passed, and she did it so beautifully, Jordan. She had life insurance, which she left to her children, and she had a preneed, which meant the family really had to come out of pocket $360 to put the date of death on her service and be done.
Wow.
So I want that to happen for me. I want that to happen for my mom. I want that to happen to my family. It was just we could grieve because that was the matriarch of our family. That was the glue to everybody, who they were, who they checked in with. That was my drive down to Houston. That was the reason I drove to Houston. Yeah, I love my aunts, my uncles, but my grandma was that person that brought us all back together. So when she passed, and for her to pass like that, that leaves a big impression on the oldest grandchild. That's her namesake, So grandma did that. And then I got a call. I was working in aerospace. Okay. So I was working in aerospace, and I get a call from a headhunter, and I hadn't put out resume, done any of that. And they asked, would you like to interview with this funeral home? 100% commission. That means no check to come in at all. You're making all of that money in that room. And I said, no, I'm not interested. And they called me 2 months later, and I still wasn't really interested, but I listened, and I felt that they called back because grandma there was some interaction that said, this is where you need to be. And so I took that guidance, I interviewed and accepted the job at 100% commission, wondering what the hell I had just done. So did that and worked with them and did very well. But behind the scenes, it's like Wizard of Oz. You don't know what's going on. You just see the families and how things turn out beautifully. But behind the scenes, we're doing a whole bunch. And it was like, hey, can you talk them up on this? Can you talk them up? No, I can't, bro. That might not be something they can afford. I mean, why am I taking advantage of these families? And yeah, I've been in sales over 30 years, but this is not the place to be a car salesman. So I did all of these things to get to a place where I could help families, where I didn't need to send families somewhere else, where I could actually sit and say, I have permission because I can send you to somewhere where your wallet fits. You want Mansfield? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different funeral homes. Which one fits your budget? And so that is the beauty. One piece of the beauty that is MLK is that I can direct you to where your wallet is, and I come to you and I share those facts with you. Either we can talk about it on Zoom or come to your house. And I have another thing that I'm building. It's a little building that I can kind of drive with me to a location, meet with the family there. Some people don't want you in their homes, and I don't want you in mine. So I completely get it. So I have all kinds of good things happening, but it's really it comes from my grandma, and I want to leave a legacy to my children as well to say, our mom works her butt off, and I want to be an example for them. And there's something that is built in me. If you tell me something, I'm going to take it at face value. And sometimes I should do more homework to know who you are as a human. Take it at face value. I have integrity. If nothing, I have loads of integrity. I believe in helping people, whether I'm behind their backs or in their faces. But I can also tell you this, that I am blessed to have discernment, and I continue to add to that level of discernment by the relationships that I'm building or leaving behind, because I feel that God is showing me a path, but sometimes we don't catch it before we're already there. And so I'm hoping that, my business will continue to grow like it is, based on me and me doing what I need to do, not me trying to get over on families, not me trying to do this and that and the other, me just being who I am, standing steadfast and helping as much as possible. So that's pretty much my why. Yeah.
It's awesome. And it's great to be able to steer people in a direction that's going to help them in the long run. Because
Yes.
it's amazing how much we don't think about something that is 100% likely to happen, but we just kind of
Yeah.
gloss over it.
Yeah. It's a hard conversation. Definitely a hard conversation to have. So
Yeah, definitely. So whenever you're, having that conversation, I'd love for you to walk us through what is the preneed process, because many people might not even know how this works.
okay. The simplest way to take care of this or to start this is to first, before coming to me or anyone like me, is to have a conversation at home. Talk to your spouse, talk to your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever that looks like, and say, hey, do you want cremation? Do you want burial? It is very uncomfortable conversation, but it's a necessity. It's very necessary. And I run into families that are like, oh God, we didn't think about that before meeting with you. But that is going to take off the time that I'm in your home. And I don't have to sit there and be that anchor between the two of you. You've already decided. And just because your husband or your wife chooses burial doesn't mean you can't do cremation. So that's the first part of the pre-need process. The next is where you tell me, hey, Lena, I want to have my service at such and such a place. There are funeral homes that I will not work with. And it really starts at the corporate level, because I feel that corporate umbrella led me to where I am today in a positive way, but I know what it does. The first of the year, their price is going to go up 4 to 6% before you even get a chance to breathe. January 1st, you walk in the building, you've got a new GPL, which is a general price list. They immediately, happily go into that 4 to 6%. But the funeral homes that I'm surrounding myself with sometimes don't even change their prices for a year or 2 years after that year it's supposed to, to change. So I usually can go to where a client says that, this is the funeral home I've heard about, I want to use this. Gather their information, present it to the family. I don't doctor anything. I'm not adding a percentage to it. What it is what it is. And then I give them the option of, do you want a 3, 5, or 10-year plan to pay it off? And that's with no interest. That's also with no down payment. It's just you make your first payment and then we are rolling. You don't want it to lapse. And some people just can't afford what they think they can. So I work with them to figure out, where do you really feel? 3, 5, or 10. And most of my veterans are 5 and 10 year, because they're on a fixed income. And I just want them to receive all of their benefits and not be stressed while trying to do the right things. Good. So I would say that's my pre-need process, and it lasts a while sometimes, unless a family knows exactly what they want. But I'm willing to work with them where they are.
What would be your advice to bring this up? For example, a lot of us that are in the what's my gender, millennials, right? Like, our parents are starting to age. Health concerns are starting to come up for some. What's a polite way of saying, hey, you're going to die?
Oh my gosh, no, Jordan, you don't want to go that route. That ain't polite. So what we might want to do is say, look, mom, dad, let's just sit and have a quick conversation. I know you're not going to be happy with this necessarily, but I think it's important to go ahead and touch base. Have you thought about cremation or burial? And some are like, we don't want to talk about this. Then you come back and say, look, we need to talk about this. My mom, my first time getting out there and doing this, my mom was one of my second clients. And I said, Mom, we love you, but having that responsibility financially on all of us, we don't know if I, my sister, or my brother can get that. You know what I mean? So what do you want? And it was just an easy conversation for her to have. She really was just like, I want to support my daughter, first of all. Second of all, she's seen how hellacious it can be behind the scenes when someone passes over. People come from everywhere. You got a cousin Bob that you didn't even know that existed, that shows up and wants to contest everything in front of them. So think about it, and that's the thing that you can tell your
Yeah.
family too. Look, Mom, we don't even talk to Sylvia over here. But how much
Cousin
you
It.
want to bet? Yes, Sylvia, cousin It will show up at the last minute and be like, I want to contest what you said and make hell for people in that room. And you don't deserve that and you don't want that. So I would say just be as honest as possible. Just don't say that, Jordan. Don't say, I know you about to die. You're going to kick the can. Don't do that. But you want to say, look, we're getting older. I'm getting older too. Let's have this discussion. And I will say this. With one of the insurers I was with, it was more difficult for me to cover people that were in their 20s and 30s. Now I can cover anybody that wants a pre-need policy because I've worked to make sure that I can do that. But it
That's
takes
interesting.
experience.
So,
Yes.
so Lena, so a bad intro question would be: is I see you're not going to be around with this much longer. That would probably
That's not good.
That would probably not be good. Okay, so question, Jordan. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you for a second because I want to throw this in because I think it's part of this question. So, it's a very tough subject for people to talk about. It's not on top of mind. And so today we're in a social environment where, a lot of people look online for this kind of stuff and these kind of things, and they want pre-planning. How do you market yourself? Are you pretty subtle? Are you pretty straightforward on your posting and how you approach it? I know you do a lot of network groups. That's fine.
I
And
do.
that's probably how you get 90% of your business, right?
True. The other is being online. So I have a presence, more so on Instagram, Facebook for sure, and TikTok because I enjoy my videos and all. But I have a team behind me, and I never thought like that until recently. I did a whole bunch of content. I did a content shoot, and there's the casket in a whole bunch of that. And people are like, are you crazy? But it turns out really well, and it brings you into the conversation. So I've gathered a lot of people now that are looking in because of who I am. My personality is coming out in my business. But I would say word of mouth is huge for me in what I do, which is where my reputation is gigantic. And so when people have things to say, I'm coming back, and I'm coming back harsh. So one, you don't want to do that. Two, I put myself on LinkedIn. It's a different animal than TikTok and all of the others, but I have a social media manager that does that for me. And I now have people that help with content. So it's a good way. And that's how I get myself out there.
Good for you.
I'm trying to be taking it in stride and not doing too much because I can overwhelm myself, but everything seems to be working the way it needs to at this point.
Good.
Thank you.
That is definitely the right way and the professional way to do it. So
yes.
Congratulations.
Yes,
awesome.
Thank you. Good. Thanks.
Okay, so where were we? Bad ways to ask about.
God.
Address the topic.
Yeah, the top 10 things you should not say.
That should be on our next meeting. Yeah.
Okay,
no,
cool.
Jordan.
It's like, hey, don't stick me with a bill. Can you pay for this?
Well, I mean, it depends on if your parents. I mean, my mom, I kind of said that, and she was just dying laughing, but it's really true. My grandma did it the best way possible. So I want everybody to understand that, know what that looks like, and we're just having a conversation. I don't even charge to talk to people.
Which is what you said, that you tell that story quite a bit because that story feeds into how you got started with MLK and everything else. Good.
Right. Yes.
So you touched upon a little bit on veterans, and I know veterans have special benefits available for them.
Yes.
Can you run us through those? Because that's yet another thing, too, that I think many might not know about.
Right. So really quickly, let me explain the difference between veterans and active duty. I want people to understand that they are two very different entities. And if you're in active duty and you pass away, everything is covered for you. If you are a veteran, not everything is covered for you. And that is a real conversation. I've had veterans actually say, no, that's not what we heard. And they go away and do their own research and come back and say, you were right. And I'm going to be right because I'm trying to do the best that I can, especially for our veterans. So when you're a veteran, you've done all of this active duty and all of this stuff. Now you're here and you're receiving either benefits or you've retired from, whatever that looks like for that individual.
Mhm.
But there is a stark difference, okay? As a veteran, what is covered is at the cemetery, there's 155 different national cemeteries, okay? So you can choose either one of those to be buried in, okay? I just have to find out if you're eligible for that. So there's a document that
Mhm.
I pair with your DD 214. And if your DD 214 says honorable, then I pair those together. I already know you're going to get your benefits, but the VA wants that document and they want to send you a letter notifying you that, yes, these are the benefits you're entitled to. So you will receive burial at one of the 150 national cemeteries. You'll receive the actual land, okay? You
Mhm.
are buried in the property there. This is all at free of charge, and it should be used more often than it is.
Mhm.
You get the headstone and marker,
Wow.
which actually can range. The ones I've been building myself can range up to from $4,000 to $15,000 is where I've been looking. But this is due the family, right? So it's the space, which starts at about $4,000. It's the
Mhm.
stone that starts at about $7,000, even if it's a flat. So that's
Mhm.
$11,000 right there off the top.
Jeez.
Wow.
Then there is also to be lowered into the ground, your casket has to go into a grave liner. And that is also $1,000, which is covered military. Then you also receive the taps, the playing of the taps. Someone's going to come out and honor the family. There's a burial flag and presentation. And then there's also a presidential certificate. This is also for the veteran, all of this, but
Mhm.
also for their spouse.
Okay,
So
I
the
was wondering
spouse,
about that.
yeah, the
That's
spouse
cool.
also doesn't have to pay. So that's about 22,000 just to start within the family.
Wow.
What they are responsible for is the cremation and the burial. Okay? So it depends on what you're looking for. If you want a burial, we can do old school burials, right? Which
Mhm.
means you get the visitation on one day and then the next day is the service and the graveside.
Mhm.
Or
Right.
you can do the modern, which is all of that in one day. Or
Mhm.
you can just do a graveside. So I love catering to veterans, especially when they don't know. They call me over to their home and say, hey, we know our benefits. And then I say, well, tell me, what are your benefits? Everything's covered. No, sir, no, ma'am. It
Mhm.
is not, but let me explain this and show you documentation, and you can call this number, blah, 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 to make sure. But everything that I'm saying I've had to deal with and go through and research, or someone has shared the information with me, so I know what I'm talking about. But I need people to understand the stark difference there. Active duty and veterans. Active, completely taken care of if you pass away within that time. If you become a veteran, what's covered is all of the benefits I've listed. You
Mhm.
still have to pay for cremation and burial.
Okay. And if you're
And
not
then
going to do cremation, would it
and
be
that includes the spouse, right?
That includes the spouse. Also, addition to that is if you have a disabled child. Your disabled child is also covered.
Wow. That's cool
I
enough.
know. I know. It's amazing because
Because my
that's
mom,
that
my mom's a 92. She's her husband who passed away was a vet, so
right.
she'll be
So she
taking
gets
advantage of
those
that.
benefits.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah. I would say if mom has the DD 214,
yeah.
you know what? Some of these funeral homes, really quickly on this subject, know that an individual is a veteran when you take it to them at the time of need, right? At need.
Mhm.
But they will actually not even give you those benefits. They will charge you for those benefits in a package or whatever it is, and that's so
Mhm.
unfair to me. So even you, for mom, when she passes, you want to get that DD 214 to me maybe, and let's do that eligibility form and just at least get her that in the
Mhm.
mail saying she is eligible for.
Yeah,
So
we'll use
that's
you for
important.
that. We'll take care of that
I'd
for
love
you.
to do that. I'd love to just get that document and submit it for her so that she can have that in the mail and you can move forward with whatever else you guys
Let's
want to do.
let's
Yeah.
talk about it next week. Perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect. So that's what I do with veterans. I go out to the VFW and I love it. At first, I was very overwhelmed because there's all these veterans staring at me. And so for me, I feel like I'm in the presence of people that have taken care of me my
Mhm.
whole life. Think about it.
Yeah.
Who's been out there fighting the battles and we're sitting here living pretty? It's not been me. So I
Mhm.
have a high level of respect for these people and these individuals. Anything I can do to help, that's where I am. So
That's awesome. I
That's
had
what I'm
a
doing.
quick question. You mentioned the it doesn't pay for the cremations. If it's a traditional burial, do they
Uh-huh.
pay for the body preparation, or is that also?
No, that's a part of the actual burial service that you will pay for if you're the veteran. So the cremation, all of that preparation of the
Mhm.
body, the casket, all of that goes into the service part. They only give you exactly what I said. They
Okay.
do the property, they do the grave liner, and they give you the headstone, which
And
is a
that's it. Yeah.
huge savings.
Right.
Mhm.
It's at the same time, I feel like that's it. But at the same time, I want you to use what you're entitled to. Another thing quickly is on this same situation is that $900.48. If you were wanting to bury a veteran in a private cemetery, you like say go up the street and find a cemetery, you only get $948 if they're honorably discharged towards whatever it is. $948. So I
Mhm.
definitely want families to use their benefits. Why
Yeah.
not? Why not? I think it's
Mhm.
beautiful. And then they take care of the ground like nobody's business. My grass is going to be brown here pretty soon. Their grass never goes brown. It's always lovely and taken care of. There's nobody vandalizing anything. Why not? Why not? So
Nice
that's it.
observation.
Yes.
Stasha says, Miller
Station.
says,
Yes. Hi,
Stacia
Station.
says you're okay.
Oh, she's so awesome. She just saying things, but yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
Cool.
That's awesome. Now, take us down a little bit further down the rabbit hole here. Let's talk about prices and payments. Like, how do you
Ah,
prepare for that?
Yeah, I know. So I want people to know that the conversation with me, first of all, is free of charge. We're sitting here, we're chatting, and at this moment, we can do that. I'm going to start having to charge for my time because I'm usually out, presenting a whole lot more. Education is the best way
Mhm.
to approach this. I personally want by the end of a couple of years just to have as many people as I talk to that have everything tied up. I just want you to have that for your family, whatever that looks like. So when it comes to how much a pre-need funeral will cost, cremation or burial, it depends. It depends on the individual and what they want. I will say that we can easily keep a direct cremation between $2,000 and five. What I've been doing recently, I would say our funerals, the burial packages, dealing where I have been, they can range between 6,000 and go up to 100,000. And I am not lying to you on
Mhm.
that. My business partner's service, the service, the headstone he paid out of pocket, and the space was $41,000 when
Jeez.
he placed his wife. Yeah, when she went to rest, because his space was $12,000 because it's double depth. So she will be buried here. He'll be buried in the same space as well. $12,000, but that's been 3.5 years ago. Imagine that times 4% every year, right? So it could definitely be 15, 16 right about now.
Mhm.
So that's one thing. The price will be based on that family and what that family is looking for. If you don't care where you're cremated, then I don't care where you're cremated. I'll find the best price for you. It's about you. That's what
Mhm.
the price is based on. Okay. Um, Pre-need, where I work, you can do monthly payments. And they're very affordable. You get 3, 5, or 10 years to pay it off. I will advise you where I think you should be, but I want everyone to know that the longer that you're paying that off, the cost of protection is added into there. And that cost of protection, depending upon if you choose to pay it off earlier or stay yearly, can
Mhm.
go up because you grow every year. So we give you 2 years and a month to pay it off completely if you want to.
Mhm.
If you don't, just continue to pay your monthly payment, whatever that looks like. If it's $79 a month, just pay $79 a month.
Mhm.
Don't double up. Don't do any of that, because think about this. If you're healthy and you come to me and say, Lena, let's do a pre-need, right? I write you up and you're paying $79 a month for 10 years. If you pass away 3 years into that 10 years, the next 7 years of payments are waived. No one is responsible for that. That is the beauty of a pre-need. It locks in your pricing, okay?
Mhm.
And then it stops if something were to happen between whatever plan you're on, you pass away, then nobody else is responsible for those payments because the cost of protection is built into that $79. So payment plans, yes, you can do those 3, 5, or 10 years. So it also says I can prepay for cremation services instead of traditional burial. You can do whatever you choose to do. You can do a mix up, which I've been doing a lot. There's this one funeral home that allows me to help our veterans with that. Some people need an open casket. They need a viewing, right? For closure. So you can do your open casket viewing, have your day, and then afterwards be cremated. And your family comes later in a week or two and picks up your cremains and takes you to where we don't need to know about. We don't need to know what you're doing with the ashes, okay? Always keep that to yourself because there's a permit or a fine waiting to happen. So whatever you choose to do with ashes, mom's the word. I mean, seriously, I've heard some stories. But if you're in the Navy or the Marines, you can be buried at sea, which is also free to the family. So if you're cremated and you choose to go out and be buried at sea, there's a huge ceremony and all of that, and your cremains can go out there for that. So it really, everything in this question is based on the family. It's based on your affordability. It's always about you. And that is what the funeral homes, I feel, have failed. They are doing what's best for their wallets at the time of need. So for me, it's about you. It's me wanting to have this in my head dream of everybody just being protected, of protecting your children, so that people don't have to stress and do GoFundMes and things like donate here. You can only have so many fish fries that get up to $7,000 or $8,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times are we going to cook and cousins in here being refrigerated? Because we have to pay for that. That is a fee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we get ahead of it, for me, I just feel I'm a straight shooter. I'm a straight shooter. And instead of buying shoes you cannot pronounce the name of, why don't we start working for our families and saying, hey, I've got all these children. I've got all these grandchildren. Why don't we start working at least with one, two? You know, let me leave a legacy myself to where they don't have to worry about anything. You know, and that's where that whole generational thing in my head that happens every day. What am I going to leave for my children? How am I going to position things like a trust, those types of things, to make sure they have no issues in the future? So that is important for families. I want them to understand. Don't be afraid of a pre-need. We can make it work in your wallet. I do that every single day. So I say, let's just have a discussion.
Right.
And so, and just to touch upon like what you mentioned, because I want to make sure people didn't miss it. So you said you're basically, you set up a payment plan. You pay after you pay the first 3 years, then protection kicks in, and if something were to happen, then
nope. So let me reword that.
Okay.
Say for instance, we go in, we start a pre-need for you, and you're healthy. That's the answer. If you're healthy and you don't have like HIV, congenital heart disease, then you are covered as soon as you make your first monthly payment, covered at 100%. So if you pass away that first year, the next 9 years are waived because of the cost protection inside of that dollar amount.
Okay.
Now, if you are ill, if you do have HIV, I can cover you. I can cover any and everybody. It just depends on the situation. Okay. And that's the difference between also a pre-need and life insurance. They will not cover you if there's any illness, if there's age is a problem. I mean, things stop you from being covered life insurance. Right. Exactly. But for me, mostly all can be insured unless you are really very ill and you're in your late 80s or 90s, then that is an annuity type situation, something I don't deal much with. But if you are ill and you come to me and say, I need a pre-need, I will say this: 2 years and 1 month, you will not be 100% covered, but you will receive all of your premiums back. And we will pay a percentage based on when you pass away of your service. So there is still something to protect the family. You see, pre-need, not burial insurance, not final expense insurance.
Right.
Pre-need insurance. So that is what I meant about your coverage. As soon as you pay, if you're healthy, you can have diabetes, you know, those types of things that are being worked through. That's not going to stop you.
Cancer, which is, you know, the big one.
Cancer, 2 years, 1 month, there's still coverage in there. But you can also get cancer riders and different things like that through insurers to protect you as well. But for
Right.
me, 2 years, 1 month, you get 100%. But if something happens to you between that 2 years and 1 month, we will reimburse all of your premiums and still pay a part of your cremation or your burial.
Right.
Wow.
Which is really kind
It's the best thing.
which is really kind of cool, actually.
Very, very. I love that because we're still helping the family in some sort of way. We're not
Yeah.
just shutting them down.
So what I'm hearing from you, and I'm going to throw my 2 cents in here, is that if a person is young and smart, couple or single,
Yep.
if they will buy their very large amount, the most they can afford, a very large insurance policy,
hmm
and build into it, then a lot of this stuff during pre-need can become solved really quickly because they have a large amount of equity or life insurance that they can tap into.
So those are two different things. Let me explain.
I understand. But
Yes.
if they die and they have a big life insurance policy, they'll be able to pay for those services. We can get a pre-need, right? No?
Nope, they're two different. That's why I mean they're two different things.
Wow.
Let me explain this. So
That's-
life insurance is for the living. Let me explain that. Life insurance, we feel like when you pass away, it's for the people that you left as your beneficiary.
Gotcha.
They also, at this point in time, cannot touch the funds until they are presented a death certificate to
That is
the
correct.
insurer.
Gotcha.
So if you don't do that, you have to go. That means you have to pay out of pocket anyways. You see what I mean? You're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So
There's a lag time. Gotcha.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so you'll need to go ahead and pay for the service anyways. That's why I feel a pre-need is the best thing to do. Then
Okay.
that person, whomever the beneficiary is, gets their whole full funding and they can do whatever they choose to do. But there are families that choose to take their life insurance policies and sign it over to the funeral home. You
Right.
can do that. But once again, you have to pay in advance before those funds show
Yeah,
up.
so either way, you're getting the money out of your pocket till proof of death certificate, and the family
Yes.
decides how it's being distributed through beneficiaries and
Exactly.
executors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you're having to front 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand. Like you're
Yeah.
having to put that down.
Come out with
Eventually
that.
you'll get it back.
Yeah.
Um,
But still, it's the,
It's still like
it's
you're
the
jumping all of it.
get it out of your pocket situation. And not everybody has money just stored away. Like Michael had to, he owns a business, so he was able to gather 41 grand for her funeral. But my whole time was like, oh my God, 41 grand?
Yeah.
Not I, said the cat. So we always are trying to find people and make sure that they have these discussions. So I drive around daily, making sure people in Midlothian, Waxahachie, wherever they may be,
Mhm.
let's have a discussion. They are already thinking about it. So I go out and I just sign people up to make sure everything's perfect and we move forward with their pre-need.
Yeah. I don't think people realize how accessible this is too.
Very. And very affordable. I mean, when I say affordable, that has been on my mind from the beginning.
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure it was for families, that it fit into your budget. I had a client that's 73 the other day, and her name is Miss Chris, and I adore Miss Chris. And she's one of the assisted living facility ladies that I've been seeing for over a year now.
Mhm.
And, we wanted to make sure things were affordable for her. So we went back and forth 2 or 3 different times to make sure the monthly was fine, because she's also going to have to buy property to be buried in. She's not a veteran, right? So I work every day trying to make sure it works for you, that you're not going to lapse, that everything's going to work for that family. And so I love what I do. I definitely love what I do because I know I'm putting people in a better place. And that's the way we should do it. Life insurance is for the living. Pre-need insurance is for your cremation or for your burial.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, you brought up an interesting point that made me wonder this. You could sign the policy to the funeral home when you're doing those prepayments, or even when you're doing a pre-need plan. But what happens when the funeral home dies before you do?
No, you didn't say funeral home dies.
Way to go, Jordan. You did do that.
Put that in there. Oh, gosh. So I haven't had to deal with that, but I did get an answer from my insurer on that yesterday. And I want people to know, first of all, I've been involved in that recently. And I think I am protected in so many ways, and that's not by business or myself. That is by a higher power. That's how I feel. I don't put that on anybody else, but that's how I feel. I feel like my steps are ordered. And while my heart is in the right place, trying to bring a funeral home business, because I feel that you deserve that, doesn't mean that God sees it like that. And so I was doing that for a funeral home I was working with, and they did go out of business. But thankfully, I had never brought that funeral home a pre-need. Never had to worry about that with my family. Most of the people that I use have been in business 30, 40, 50, so many years. So I appreciate that. But he did send me a message, and he says, you have to write another policy just to add whatever. So there's a question you're going to run to, but money is always good at another funeral home. So they can take that contract and still transfer it to another funeral home. It may not be apples to apples, but there is they're going to work with you. They will definitely work with you. Yes.
That's good. Good to know.
Yeah. If the funeral home dies before you do.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, so that's the answer to that one. Yes.
Well, that's good to know. And and since we're leaning in longevity here, can you change your mind when you make your arrangements?
People do that. I'd say this. Let's start very basic. Let's just make sure you're getting everything that you really need. And then if you want to make changes, we can add later on. It would take us writing another policy to add those things, but it doesn't negate the first. It just says you have this one plus this one. So you could definitely make changes to your policy later. Definitely.
Okay. So yeah, if you're like, for example, just thinking just a quick cremation and just, just get it over with. And then you kind of, because I love how you brought it up, like maybe you want to do an open casket for closure, and maybe that dawns on you. Like maybe we should do that, but that's more steps. So that would modify the policy.
Right. Especially if they don't say that to begin with. Because I give you everything we walk through every plan that there is, in that area. If you want cremation, I've got these 2 or 3 or 4, right? We walk through it. And if you say, the girls don't really want that, or the boys don't really want that, and go ahead and just do a direct cremation, we'll do that. But if you come back and say, Lena, look, the kids decided they do want an open casket for viewing for other people that may come in and want some closure too, we can add that. And so that is also the beauty of a pre-need. It doesn't change the price of where you started on this one. We'll just add things to it to equal out to where it is at this point. So it's a simple process. So I'm glad that we can do that. Yes.
Okay. So you could potentially keep getting fancier and fancier. It's like, right.
It's about affordability. Yes, you can. You can either say, look, I want to go ahead and I want to do a cremation, but I want to also have, like I said, the celebration of life part. I want to have a fancy casket, not just the one that is the rental casket. I want to just go crazy. And because we have certain rental caskets that are rentals, but then there are the ones, if you want to buy a casket and have it burned or whatever you want, you can do all of that. But let's have those discussions so that people can know that, like I said, you can definitely do a horse-drawn carriage. You can have whatever a person really truly wants, they can do that. We just have to work out the kinks to get it done. But if it's not affordable, start basic and then add to it. You can definitely do that.
Later on, you have the DJ, the keg, the fireworks.
Right. And I have a lot of clients that, go ahead real quick.
Real quick, because you're bumping into some time here, but I have a question for you. So you work directly with people. You've got the personality. You can meet with them. You can bring them peace of mind. You can build a relationship. But there's a lot of people out there that type in pre-need or pre-qualified for funeral services. They use online services.
Right.
How do you separate yourself? Because they're not always tell you everything that's needed, right? You may have a lot of questions. So have you had somebody before bring you a plan from online and then you went through it with them and said, no, you need to do this, this, or this?
No, but I've seen people make these mistakes because they didn't sit with someone like me.
Okay.
So I think that is also what sets me aside, a different part of this environment, because I'm sure you've met lots of people that do prearrangements. Most of them you can read. and you can say, I know this person wants the money. They're more about the money. They're
Right.
more about the popularity.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't care if you like me or not. I'm here
Right.
to do a business. And if you
Mhm.
want to do business with me, then we can talk. And what I also bring to the table is I'm going to be honest. If something goes wrong in the background, I'm going to say, ooh, we don't want to use them. That's not good. I will
Okay.
be honest with you. And so that, I think that is a big part of it. I don't just
Okay.
let people flail and lie to them. So
Mhm.
it's very important not to do that.
I just want, the point was I wanted people that were listening to this to know that, you know, there's a lot of things you should always work with somebody directly on, because their experience in the in-between stuff is really important. And especially when it comes to pre-need and pre-planning. That's all I want.
Right.
That was the
That's
point I
true.
was trying to make. Okay.
Yes, I understand that.
That's good. And I got two more questions for you.
Of course.
As we wrap up, one, for people listening to this and can see the value that this can bring, how do I get started with a pre-need plan, and what documents do we need?
Okay, so in order to get started, I'd say just send me a message. My website is updated. We just did a whole new revamp
Hang
on
on.
it. It looks really, really good.
Oh.
And you can go to, oh, it's so crazy. You can go to www.mlk prearrangements with an s.com,
We got it.
and you can contact any and every, you can just send me and say, hey, Lena, reach out to me. Or if you know me personally, you've got my cell phone number. You can text me. Everywhere there's a way to get in touch with and just say, hey, let's talk. We want to know kind of what our options are. Have that discussion. And then furthermore, tell me what you're looking for before I even get to where you are or coming to visit you. What are you looking for, cremation or burial? And where do you want all of this to take place? Most times I will tell you this. It does not matter the funeral home that you use. We can do whatever you want at your church. If you have a church home, that funeral home, no matter who they are, will come to your church home. So if that is what the price is about, we can make that work. So there's a lot of flexibility, but you have to have a conversation. You can reach me on the website, or you can call my cell phone. And if you know me, you know how to get in touch with me.
That's
if
awesome.
not, you can reach out to a cousin.
Yeah. And what about, is there any special documents needed?
There are not. I would say if you are a veteran, though, and you were honorably discharged, we do need a copy of your DD 214.
Correct.
That will show me. I like to deal with the clients that are honorable, but if they're not, and there's a reason that they're not exactly honorable, then we can still send that in and see if they will honor that and give you those benefits. So that's the only thing that an individual needs off the top, if they're really interested, is their DD 214 in their veteran. Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. And the last question I wanted to ask you, and this is more just curiosity. I guess you could call it morbid curiosity.
Okay.
Mercurial.
Do you ever deal and help more eccentric clients? Because I know people can get a little bit more on the eccentric end of things.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, how does that work?
So one time I had a client, and I will say from this experience, we got close, and it was really based on ignorance. And ignorant can be used as a bad word to down someone, but in most cases, it's just somebody doesn't know, or somebody doesn't understand, or they grew up some off the wall way. One thing I will say, I met this one client at the funeral home, and you could tell she was cantankerous. You could tell she was just angry. And she comes in with her daughter. We sit down and we start to talking. And she was like, you know what, my husband, I want to have that flag on his casket. And I was like, flag? In my head, which flag? She's like, that flag. No, I don't. And then her daughter was like, she wants to put the Confederate flag on his casket. Everything within me had to stop and realize it was what she wanted. Whatever she wants is what I need to do. So I said, sure, we can do that. Her daughter hits her and says, no, we're not doing that. But from that experience, I found out that her husband was Mexican. And a casket cover that was Confederate was a little different in my mind. Then I found out she was Jewish. So it just continuously got worse and worse in the situation. So come to find out, we became friends. She invited me into the limousine, and offered me tequila. So we were friends, right? And she would come to the funeral home and start up so much drama. They would call me from the back, Lena, your person's here. I was like, what, Miss Donna? She's here. She come. So I'd go up to the front and she'd cry on my shoulder and we'd have conversations. So we became friends by the end of this. Mm-hmm. And I learned through that ignorance is prevalent. And if we choose to, we can sit and work through things with people. Yep. And I think when I went home, I laughed so hard because I was like, what is going on? I was like, maybe I didn't hear it right, but I heard it right. Because the other funeral director at the end was like, you heard it all right. But I learned through that, it is what it is. I do run into people that have some different ways of looking at things, and I have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes me who I am. I can deal with that if I choose to. And so, I mean, I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. And helping people with this is what I'm going to continue to do.
Thanks, Lena.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to see y'all.
Well,
it's been so long.
The cool thing is that what we love is we like having guests come back because there's lots of things that change between the last time you're on and this time, and it's been obvious in the conversation, and which helps people. What I'm going to recommend is we had people chatting and listening in. We'll finish up here in a few minutes because I know you got some other tasks you have to run and do this afternoon.
Yeah.
So this is Lena, y'all. You don't have to get a hold of her, MLK prearrangements. I'll make sure your contact information, including your website's in the description. I will tighten this up tonight. Not only will I have this copy for you from YouTube, I'll send you the raw copy as you recommended. Okay. That's fine. We'll let you do it this time. We have rules too, but that's okay. No. So thank you for the great information. We're going to ask you to sit tight for a couple minutes when we're done going live because we want to make sure we have your recording on your side. Okay. So everybody, we'll be back next Tuesday with Core 4 roofers. We're going to have Brandon, Mike, and Brian all on our virtual stream with us from the roofing, and Mike's going to be telling jokes, and it's going to be fun. So y'all need to come back and join us next week. And let me get this last comment in. Brenda says, "Hey, great info. Thanks. We thank you for being better." Okay, well, we thank you, Mommy, for saying hi and all that good stuff. So we'll see y'all next Thursday. Have a great day, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.